Hello and welcome. I'm the Urban Dragon Trainer, and this is going to be your final how to train your urban dragon. I'm going to try and cover pretty much the big picture of my routine here, like I did in my last video, but be more broad in my explanation. Now, first, like you're seeing here while I'm doing a feeding video with Echo, always give your animals some sort of general enrichment or handling time or out of the enclosure time before a feeding session. This will be highly beneficial in your ability to differentiate yourself from the food source. Now, they will still look to you for food. Yes, I have that trust in Blue, but they will not expect food every time they see you if you handle them first. Secondly, while you're first working with them, when you're beginning on this training course and you're putting them into the enclosure after a handling session, if you plan on feeding after the handling session, like you'll see here, put the glove in first. Introduce them to the glove on their way into the cage. Once they start to associate the glove with food, this will alleviate some of their reluctance to take food from you. This will also help you step into tongue training when you're very first starting out and just putting the food dish on top of the glove. Now, when you get to the point that you're putting the glove in the cage and you're not wearing it yet, and you want to work towards moving the glove around, I'll demonstrate a little at the end of this video, but when you get to trying to see if you can wear the glove, simply while you feed them, reach in while they're chewing and move the glove a little bit, see how they react, and set it back down and then feed them again. And then move it a little bit more and see how they react and set it down. When you get to the point that they're no longer reacting with stress when the glove moves and they trust it completely, then you can start wearing the glove and you'll get similar responses to what I get with Blue. Now, as we feed Echo here, I'm going to try and get him to start following the food source around the cage. You're not going to do that for the first month while you're doing this process with your reptile. You want to really work on them seeing the glove and accepting food from you. You don't even really want to try and get them to climb on you for the first 2-3 months. You want to keep that association between the glove and food and not try to pet them. Don't try to handle them. Don't try to make feeding time anything but feeding time until they're older and they are accustomed to you. Until they are willing to come out of the enclosure, like at the beginning of this video, when you can pick them up and they don't dart directly off your hands or try to get away from you, or when you approach the enclosure with the glove and they come running to you, then you can make feeding time mean something else. You can start working towards getting them to stand up on command. You can start working towards getting them to come when called, and those sorts of things. And I'll also talk a little bit later about how to get them started on verbal commands. But right now we're getting that visual cue, that scent cue, that association down. You want to start and focus on that. Whether you're working with an older monitor or a younger monitor, you want to focus on that food association with the glove. This will help you fix all other issues later on. It's like teaching a dog fetch. When you teach a dog fetch, you can use fetch and that playtime as a tool for further training. You are basically building that fetch tool right now. You're taking this glove and you are turning it into that thing your monitor will work for. And also making it that thing that your monitor sees or does not see to have a food drive. You'll see in my videos with Blue, when the glove isn't around, whether I've just fed him or am getting ready to feed him, regardless, even during feeding, if he does not see the glove, I do not get a feeding response. If you keep in this routine and you never feed them without the glove present or visible, you will get to that point. It is simple. All you have to do is make sure every time they get food, they see that glove. When they're younger and they haven't associated the glove wholly, you can give small food sources If you're usually feeding about a dozen dubia roaches, you can give 5 or 6 and throw them in the cage for a positive association after you rearrange it or something like that. But you want the majority of their food association to be affiliated with that glove. That is the key to this training process. Once you have that strong glove association, and you can wear the glove, and you have them following the glove around the cage to get food, then you work forward into when you go to get the glove out. First you pet them, you give them some general enrichment out of the cage. They don't see the glove and get to eat right away as soon as you open the cage. Give about 15 minutes of general enrichment even when they're older, before feeding time. Then you move towards, while you're feeding, take the glove off and see if you can get them to stop that food response. You can turn the food response on and off utilizing the glove at a certain point. It just takes practice, and it takes affiliation with your reptile. You have to get used to the cues they're giving you as well. But once you've gotten to that point, once you've got them working around the cage and you're turning that food drive off by removing the glove, and you can still mess with them after feeding without aggression, then you're ready to move into the tricks. You're ready to move into maybe making a glove toy for them and letting them chase that in the beginning of feedings. These are all very fun things to do with your reptile, and they're great for their general enrichment. There are a lot of times in the wild that your reptile will have to chase and work and run for its food, and this is healthy behavior for them in captivity. That's why I do this. That's why I created this training process. That's why it's all exists. But once you get to that point and you're working with them and getting them to do tricks and follow the glove, then you're probably going to want to start some verbal training. This will be about 6-7 months into you owning your animal and working on this process. Simply using the same word and tone every time you participate in an act that gets that response will teach them the verbal responses. When you put the glove on and they come running to you for food, say their name and say, "Come here." This is how I taught Blue to come when called. If every time they come when called, when they see that glove, they hear that phrase, "Blue, come here," then eventually "Blue, come here" will catch their attention, pique their curiosity, and they will come running, just like Blue does. Now, when you're working into verbal commands for the other behaviors, like tripoding or attacking food, his "get it" command, it's the same thing. Every time the behavior is exhibited, you use the phrase. Then eventually the phrase can precede or come before the behavior. And you can say, "Come here," and they will run to you. Or you can say, "Get it," and they will start scanning the ground and area for that food source. Or you can say, "Up," and they will stand towards the glove before they see the food or have that physical cue. It's all a process of developing a routine, and you try to stay out of the same mundane routine. However, doing different things with them like this and doing this training process with them, if this becomes your daily, weekly, or every other day routine, you will have a healthier, more active, more personable reptile. Blue is very good about being presented to other people, meeting other people, getting pet, getting attention, and even feeding in front of new people when I want to show them the feeding process and some of his training, simply because the glove association gets him past those outside influences. But thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Stick to the training process. It truly works. I've shown that with Blue, and I'll be proving that eventually with Echo here. But work slow, be patient, be calm. Try to keep the area quiet when you're working with your animals. Every little influence you have should be forward productive to the final result you expect with your animal. Every time you feed them, associate the glove. Every time you handle them, the glove is nowhere to be seen. Eventually, you will have control over their food drive and their feeding response. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. Please subscribe, follow us on TikTok, keep your eyes out for more videos. I'm the Urban Dragon Trainer. Goodbye for now.